After a whole day of a delay, Rell has finally hit the PvE servers with her Midscope update. And of course, I didn't waste any time, went into the practice tool and tried out all the different combos you can do on her now. And in this video I'm gonna show you the new combos you can do on Rell. So let's get into it. So before we start with anything new, for everyone that was kinda scared that Rell is gonna play completely different, you can still do her old combos. Or mainly, you can still do her main combo, which is just flash W ulting. It works totally fine and it still does the same thing it did before the rework. You also still can do the Magnet Storm Flash W combo. That also still works, but since your E got replaced with a completely different spell, you can't use the attract and repel stun in there to guarantee crash down landing. But in theory it still works. So these two combos for the most part stayed untouched and you can still use them and they are still pretty good. So one more thing before we start with the actual combos. There is a small mechanic that I figured out, I guess, that comes with the new Shattering Strike. As you probably know, Shattering Strike's cast time got higher from 0.35 seconds to 0.5 seconds. On the surface that is obviously a nerf, but it gives us a little bit more possibilities on what to do with it. So if you look at the example on the screen right now, you can see that you can still flash it in just the same way it was before her Midscope update. And as you can see, it works that way that the direction you look before flashing is the direction it's gonna go from the new position after the flash. But now you can actually flash her Q in, which is kind of interesting. And it's actually quite simple. All you have to do is wait a split second after casting your Q with your flash and you will be able to flash it in, as seen on screen right now. And this little mechanic allows us to kind of recreate her current E ability, Attract and Repel, and how we used it to guarantee crash down hitting. Let's start with a simple one. All of us probably use the W-E combo right now on Rell, which makes total sense because it's just that effective and there's not much counterplay if you actually manage to hit your E. Now after the rework, you of course can't do that anymore, but you can still use your Q now to get at least a similar effect, if not the complete same effect. Here in the clip you can see that if you use the aforementioned combo, you can just Q flash into insta crash down to pretty much get the same result as current Rell does. All you have to pay attention to is that you don't instantly press Q and flash. You have to wait the split second I mentioned beforehand to actually guarantee crash down hitting. You of course don't have to cast your Q ability in the other direction to do this, but if you do so, it might be even more surprising for the enemies, which is always a great thing, of course. Alright, now let's talk a combo where we use all of Rell's abilities, apart from E, of course. This one is the one probably most of us come up with the first when we look at the new kit of Rell. It's the Q Flash W ult combo. Pretty simple, I would say. This combo of course is really good on non-mobile targets that in the best case also don't have a flash, because I think it's kinda hard to tell with target dummies, but I'm pretty sure there is a small window where you could potentially use flash or a movement spell to get out of there. But if you're aware of the cooldowns of the enemy, this one is very good and consistent, I would say. Also with the combo we talked about before, make sure you flash in your Q as late as possible so the stun is there when you need it. Because if you flash too early, there is gonna be more room for the enemy to actually react to it. And now finally we have the craziest combo I came up with, and I think this one is good. It looks really flashy and to some of you it might seem unnecessary, but I actually think this might be the most uncounterplayable combo Rell has after the rework. But I'm gonna tell you right away, it's not easy to land. It took me a few attempts to get it down somewhat consistently, but here it is. It involves you using the Q flash mechanic alongside with the ult flash mechanic to leave the enemy no counterplay at all. I'm gonna, of course, for all the combos, I'm gonna display on the bottom which buttons you have to press to achieve these combos. But this one is really tricky. And I kind of like it that it's somewhat difficult. It makes the whole thing even more fun in my opinion. But yeah, that's it gonna be for all the combos I came up with. Maybe I'm gonna find even more over the time. I'm not too sure if there's any more room for possibilities, but maybe there is. And as I promised, they wanted to give us a bit more options to play the fights, and I think we got that. Now we don't have to go for Crash Down Magnet Storm every single fight. And I really like it. But that's it gonna be for this video, and I'll see you all in the next one.